said her beauty was a gift from the gods. But for Psyche, it felt more like a curse. No one dared speak to her. No one loved her. Not truly. Not when she was worshipped more like a goddess than a woman. Even Venus, the actual goddess of love, grew jealous of Psyche's fame. Her beauty had started a war she never asked for. So, the oracle of Apollo told her father something terrible. Leave Psyche on a rocky cliff, it said. She's destined to marry a monster, a winged, serpent-like beast. Her father obeyed. Psyche stood alone at the edge of the world, abandoned by the only people who ever claimed to love her. The wind howled around her. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She waited. Was this the end of her story? Not even close, because the west wind, Zephyr, lifted her gently from the rock. The wind carried Psyche far from the cliff, cradling her through the sky until it placed her gently before a palace unlike any she had imagined. Its walls gleamed with impossible light, and the air shimmered with an invisible presence. Servants she could not see guided her every move, offering her food, baths, and rest. At night, her husband came to her, but the chamber remained in darkness. His touch was kind, his voice soft and soothing. Night after night, their bond deepened, and though she could not see his face, Psyche began to love him. He asked only one thing, that she never attempt to discover his identity. Love, he said, didn't need to see to know. But the seeds of doubt took root when Psyche's jealous sisters visited. They planted fear in her heart, whispering tales of monsters and deception. One night, trembling with uncertainty, she lit an oil lamp and crept to her husband's side. What she saw astonished her. There lay not a beast, but a god, Cupid himself, radiant and winged. In her shock, a drop of oil fell, scorching his shoulder. He awoke. Cupid stirred beneath the golden sheets, his face illuminated by the trembling flame. The scent of burning oil filled the chamber, but of heartbreak. Rising slowly, he looked upon her, and his expression was not anger, but sorrow. He spoke only once, revealing the truth she had never imagined. Venus, his mother, had commanded him to punish Psyche with accursed love. But the moment he laid eyes upon her, he had fallen, pierced by his own arrow, bound by his own power. Fearing the wrath of the gods and the fragility of mortal hearts, he had hidden his identity, hoping their love might grow in shadow. Yet now, trust had fractured that fragile hope. Love cannot exist without faith, he said quietly. Then he spread his wings, and with a single beat, he vanished into the night sky. The palace dissolved, the voices fell silent, and Psyche, left in darkness, wept alone. But she did not break. Guided by the ache in her chest, she wandered the earth in search of him, until Venus appeared with a cruel smile and 3 impossible trials. Venus, veiled in disdain, presented the first task. Before Psyche lay an enormous heap of seeds, millet, barley, lentils, poppy, and beans, all mixed into chaos. She was to sort them by nightfall. No mortal could hope to succeed. Psyche stared, despair closing around her. But unseen beneath the earth, a colony of ants stirred. Drawn by her sorrow, they swarmed to her aid, sorting seed from seed with tireless precision. By dawn, the work was done. Venus, displeased but bound to her word, gave the second task. Psyche was to fetch golden fleece from violent rams that grazed by the river, beasts known to tear trespassers apart. As she approached the riverbank, the reeds whispered to her, "Do not go near them while the sun burns. Wait until evening, when their rage fades, and gather what clings to the thorns." She did as they said, and returned with the shining wool. For the third task, Venus demanded a box filled with beauty, stolen from the queen of the underworld herself. Psyche was to descend into death and return. Fear gripped her, but she accepted. For love, even the gates of the dead would not stop her. With the box clutched tightly in her hands, Psyche stood before the entrance to the underworld, where shadows clung like mist and silence pressed against the skin. The unseen voice returned, gentle and steady, guiding her once more. Take 2 coins for Charon the boatman. Carry barley cakes for Cerberus, the hound with 3 heads. Speak to no soul, look at no face, and above all, do not open the box. Psyche obeyed. She crossed the river Styx on Charon's boat, the black waters whispering forgotten names. She fed the monstrous dog, who let her pass without growl or glance. At the heart of the underworld, she knelt before Proserpina, queen of the dead. Without question, the queen gave her the box, sealed and heavy with divine beauty. With it, Psyche retraced her steps, emerging once again into the light of the living. But as she neared Venus's palace, a fatal thought overtook her. She was tired, worn, mortal. Perhaps, she reasoned, just a drop of beauty would restore her strength, just enough to be worthy of a god. She opened the box, and at once a thick, enchanted sleep poured out, wrapping around her limbs. Psyche collapsed, silent, still, and lost. As Psyche lay motionless on the ground, shrouded in enchanted sleep, a soft rustle stirred the air. From above, Cupid descended, his wings slicing through the clouds with urgency. He had searched for her in silence, haunted by the memory of her courage and the pain he had caused. Finding her lifeless, the god of desire fell to his knees. He brushed the sleep from her eyes with a kiss, and in that moment, she awoke, gasping, alive once more. Cupid gathered her into his arms. "I was wrong," he whispered. "You've braved what no mortal ever dared, not for glory, not for power, but for love." He flew to Olympus and stood before Jupiter, king of the gods. There, he begged for mercy, not just for Psyche, but for their future. Jupiter agreed. Psyche was offered ambrosia, nectar of the gods, and drank without hesitation. In that instant, she became immortal. No longer a mortal woman or a god's secret. She was his equal. Soon after, she bore a daughter, a child named Pleasure, and together, Psyche and Cupid became eternal, forever entwined. The soul and desire, 2 forces that have since shaped every love story the world has ever known.